Right, hello folks, this is Roland, and we're going to be looking at ACDC. That's the Align, Clone, Distribute, Clone. Um, Alright, so I'm bringing it in, adjusting the width a little bit. Sometimes when you stretch too much, you've got lots of empty spaces, so you just got to slide it back in. Looks fine there. Okay, so we're looking at MAG3 now. Okay, now a couple of you have asked about not knowing because the selection state here sometimes disappears. So what you do is you will want to look up here, right? Depending on the selected UI or script module, you'll see the selection banner up here. All right, so I've listened to a couple of comments and I've made some changes to how the align section works. All right, there's a section on shortcuts here. If you like to work fast, script introduction is up there, and as you guys know, lots of help in there. So not so much there. A little bit more here, some more here, and some more here. Alright, and as always, if you have questions, drop me an email. So, okay, very quickly. So, I'm going to do a reset UI. So we're back up here. Now, what's beautiful about this is you can align as a group. And even as you align as a group, which of your selections is going to be used for one of your alignment options here. Alright? So left would be here, right would be here, top would be the topmost of the selected layers. And of course, I've got this set to last layer selected. And the reason why I like last layer selected is because it's easy to change your mind, right? This becomes last selected. So if I deselect this and reselect, this becomes the last selected. Okay? So try to get used to that. And then over here for composition, landmarks, top left. Now if I shift click here, it will align as a group based on the leftmost of the last layer selected. If I move this somewhere here, and let's just assume I selected this. Now this is my last layer selected. If I shift click here, which is the same as just clicking here, you see that? Its left edge will be aligned to the composition left. So it's insanely powerful, and things get powerful once we deal with more with the align as a group option. Now what happens now, you can use this redo last selection. What if you have align as a group disabled? Then it will treat each layer individually. Their left will be set to the composition left. So I'm going to shift click. See that? I'm going to undo. And the other option now is we want to align to one of the layers here. So for that, this is new, right? In version 3, you've got to put this at the top selection. And when you do that, this becomes enabled. If you select any option here, then your target becomes disabled, right? Because the composition options become the target. So if you want to select another layer, you have to first select this option. Now, when you do this, the last layer selected becomes the target layer, right? So let's assume I've selected this guy and then I'm going to shift select this guy. Alright, so I want all my selected layers, I want their top to be aligned to this layer's top. So I can shift click here or click here. Alright, easy enough. Now, if you have a line as group selected, you can select these guys, and let's assume I want this to be the last layer selected, and I'm going to click here. This is now the last selection. So what's happening now is there are two last selected layers. One is for your source layers, and the other is your target layer. Alright, just wrap your head around this. So we want to wrap, so this is our source layers, this is our last selected layer, and then this is our target layer. Okay, so the top of this guy to the top of this guy. So I'm going to shift, click, done. So I'm going to now go to top. Whoops, can't do that because I want single layers. Alright, now I'm going to align all of them on their Y center to this guy's Y center. Alright, so shift click, and there you go. And now I want to align as a group because I want the right edge of this layer. Okay, I'm going to align it as a group. It's right edge. And in fact, I can go all layers, which is easier sometimes, right? All the layers, its right edge is this guy, its left edge is this guy. Bottom edge, they all share the same. Top, they share the same. So I want the right edge to be aligned to my last selected layer's left edge. Done. Then when I do, you can add a gap, just punch in 20. And now you've got a 20 pixel gap. So it's insanely accurate. You can also do a coordinate. So all of these, their bottoms, I want it to be at y-axis 1000 pixels. Okay, so 1000 pixel mark is here. Now that's easy, right? A couple of issues some users have is they try to select x-axis and then align it to y-axis. If you do that, you're gonna get an axis mismatch. Alright? Obviously you can't set your x coordinate to your y-axis or the other way around. So you've got gaps and stuff. Now we're going to do something here. This one's a bit more interesting. So we've got our text here selected, and we're going to align them independently to the top. So they're all there now. Oops, did I miss that? Try that again. Oh, there's a gap. So remember, if you alt click, you will. If you alt click in the input box here, it will reset to 0. Okay, so they're all aligned perfectly on the top edges and also bottom edges. So I'm gonna redo last selection that selects all of them. And what do I want to do? Alright, so what's nice about the distribution is you can come here and you can control click here and it transfers over to the right side, and it's the same if this is 0. Now if I control or command click here, it will transfer over here. And if I alt click here, it goes back to 0. Right, so you got lots of nice shortcuts there. So now if I shift click here, what's going to happen is you're going to have a 200 pixel margin on the right and 200 pixel margin on the left, and the gaps in between are uniform perfectly. Right, so it's nice and beautiful. If you want to go by center with a fixed gap, let's say you want a 75 pixel gap. If you hold down Control or Command and click here, it will automatically enable the distribute from option. And since they're already centered more or less, correct? Not more or less, they're exactly centered. 200 pixels on the right margin, 200 pixels on the left margin, and I don't know the exact pixel count because we did margin centering, but right now I want 75 pixels as the perfect, not perfect, but as the precise gap between the text, and I want to distribute from center. So hold shift click here, and there you go. Alright, so as you can see, it's insanely powerful and very, very precise. Another new shortcut is Control Alt Shift. Yeah. If you look at the tooltip there, the little box here, just put your cursor there, the tooltip will appear. So if I select this option, well, you don't have to select it actually, just select your layers here and you hold Control Alt Shift and click. What's going to happen is the smaller, yeah, the script will calculate the sizes, and the smaller of the two selections or more selections will be centered to the larger layer's center. Alright, so this is very good and easy if you're doing some buttons or some basic text, and this gives you a one-click alignment. Alrighty, so selected layers, extreme edges. I'm going to bring this down. Let's see, bring this to the right. Okay, or let's bring this here. Because in the real world, when you're doing alignments and stuff, sometimes you're aligning based on the frame margin. Sometimes you're doing alignments based on layers or objects that are already on screen. That's why your distribution options, you've got all these options. Right, and alignment, you've got all these options, including coordinate inputs. So what I want to do now is actually align the tops of these guys to this guy. Alright, so top, last layer selected is this guy, and I'm going to align to its top. Okay. Next, we're going to do distribution, but based on the extreme edges. So let's assume sorry, I've locked my, let me unlock it. So let's say we want a 100 pixel margin on the left. So I'm going to drag this guy. Yeah, I'm going to drag it there. Bring it down. So now I'm going to select all these guys and I'm going to shift click here. So it's going to distribute based on the left and the right edge here. It knows where the edges are based on your selection, and your gaps will be perfectly aligned, even if they're differently sized or if they're parented. Okay, so that's the beautiful thing about this script. What else can we do? Oh yeah, there are shortcuts. If you hold this and you shift click, control shift click, it will align to the center. If you control shift and click here, it will be centered composition. And Control Shift here, it will go right, and this one also the same, will go to the bottom right. Right, just some quick shortcuts there. Yeah, I think that's about it. So it's a lot easier now. And the clone is also pretty easy to set up. So let's set up 5 clones. So let's say we want to start from here. It says distribute, but it's also for the clone, right? You can see the clone and distribute, they're in the same section. So sorry about the name. So we'll do a clone, and then since my gap is not set up here, it goes to the composition edge, right? But now we can do a setup like this. Whoops. I think I should have set up as a group. Left edge would be this guy. Alright. Now, we're going to look at a few other options. Let's come here. Right, this is actually pretty much the same. Maybe let's do a couple more exercises. So I want to align this to the right side of this guy here. Alright, so you can do this. Select this. And then now align as a group left edge. Alright, and then this will be my target. The text here has been locked and then parented. So it's going to align as a group. But I'm actually selecting just the shape layer here. And I'm going to align to its right edge. Got that? And then this guy, it's right edge. I'm going to align to the last selection. Right? It's left edge. So shift click, done. Then now I'm going to select everything. Come up to composition center. Align as a group all layers, all of them. Whoops. See what I chose here? So I should have selected X center. Done. And if it was up there, I can go to Y center. Shift click here. So now it's perfectly centered. So it's an insanely powerful alignment and distribution tool. Hope you like it. Let's see if there's anything interesting I can do. So this one's for vertical alignment, very similar to the early exercise we saw. I can come here. Okay, we're going to look at the distribution order. As you can see, there's so many options. And that's one of the wonderful things here. So as you can see here, we're looking at the distribution order. Now, a lot of distribution tools, not most, if not all, do not have this feature. So what happens when you have a distribution order? Well, there are 3 things actually that happen when you perform distribution. All right, it's where you're going to distribute from, and what are you distributing and in what order. All right, and this is where the distribution order comes into play. All right. So let's say let's bring this down here. Okay. And we're gonna do vertical. Now or option click here to set it to 0. We're gonna distribute from bottom. Notice when I switch between horizontal to left, center, right will change to top edge bottom. Right? So I'm going to distribute from bottom edge. That means from here it's going to go upwards. Alright, that's how I'm going to distribute it. But in what order? And that's where distribution order comes in. Right, layer index, top layer first. Or Y position. Y position, that means the smaller layer will be distributed first. Okay, so some of these options like X position, Y position, scale, X scale, Y scale, even layer index and selection order. What they mean is the item or the layer with the smallest value for that attribute or characteristic will be distributed first, except when you go for random. And of course, you can invert that option. So let's go for layer width. And the difference between layer width and scale is layer width takes the actual pixel size after scaling, after any transformation or parenting. Okay, so this is super accurate in terms of this actual pixel size that you see here. So we're going to go with that. So what's going to happen is it's going to start distributing from the bottom edge of all the selected layers, right? And which layer is going to be placed first here? Well, I decided to go by layer width. So it's going to be this, and then this. Okay, and let's switch up clones so we don't create unnecessary clones. Doing shift click there. Alright, I thought this would be first, but it's the opposite way. So I guess for vertical it goes from top down, yeah? And for horizontal it goes from left to right. It should be the way. So my error there. Now if I wanted it to be different, then I would have gone to invert. Alrighty. So again, vertical distribution natural state is from top to bottom, and then left to right in terms of calculating which of your distribution order appears first. So that's pretty cool, isn't it? And then now you can use this in combination with your align, and let's go to X center. Not X center, let's go to bottom. Our bottom will be placed in composition. So the bottom of this guy will be placed at the X center. Or is there an axis mismatch? Or should be this thing. Y center, yeah. So these are your X axis, and then Y axis. There you go. And let's go Y center. And it's very quick, very fast. It actually looks at the entire, all the selected layers, and it immediately calculates the center point of all the selected layers and places it at the composition Y center. So again, this is why I say it's insanely powerful. I'm going to go to the top. I want the top of this guy to be at the point here, which I think is 100 pixels. So we're going to go to coordinate, y-axis, 100. Align as a group. If align as a group is disabled, then all the layers will be there. So let's do this first. Let's undo, right? If I disable, that means all of them will be treated as a single, or be calculated based on the individual layers. See that? And if you notice, if you already have keyframes, these guys will create keyframes for you. Alrighty? Okay, I think that's that. If you want a longer tutorial, which I don't think you want because I'm not the most exciting person. But I'm quite open to doing. I mean, I used to lecture, right? I'm a lecturer, and I need people out there. I really don't like talking to myself. It's kind of silly thing to do, but I'm doing it because, yeah, you guys need this. If you want more, you want to run through a 30-minute or 1 hour session, we can do it live on the Zoom or somewhere, and I can go through more exercises and answer your questions interactively. Right, otherwise that's it for this. Cheers, bye bye.